Aloha, you guys, and aloha Friday, as they say, and welcome in. Mahalos for checking in. Hey, guys, we got one quick one. This is going to be one kind of one wrap up, or not one wrap up, but one look ahead to the weekend. And we got tons of information that we've been digesting, absorbing, and matriculating, as they say, out the field. And we figured, you know what, we haven't been doing twos weekly since the holidays and stuff, but we got to get back to it, and especially when we come into some information the way we have, and it's just too much to overlook and too much to let you guys go on your own. I know we know at this time of year there's so much noise and there's so much to look ahead, digest. What to weigh, what not to weigh, all the injuries, everything going on. So we figured, you know what, you can never have enough information when it comes to sports betting. So again, they study long, study wrong, but at the same time, if like Trent Williams for San Francisco as an example, if Brada's not going to play left tackle, Purdy's going to have some problems. So just stuff like that we where we know, or the Rams, Devontae Adams coming back, pairing him with Puka Nakua, look out. I mean, Brada's going to have a day. You know what I mean? And really quick off the subject, I would like to say that I hope that the writers across America are still watching and still deciding on offensive player of the year, not the rookies but the regular guys, because I've got a ticket for Devontae Adams early. As you guys know, for my fantasy, he was our ride or die, and he definitely got you to the playoffs. Now the hamstring, you might have had to swap out somebody as far as that goes for your first or second round. The challenge before your Super Bowl and your Super Bowl. Obviously, Devontae missed, but I had him and I won my league because. And what's funny is, like there were guys available, on the waiver wires, whether it was Watson with Green Bay or like Keenan Allen. There were some guys, there were some dudes available on the waiver wire, but you wouldn't have got to the playoffs without Devontae. He's the number one scoring guy. So I just would like to shout out to him, and I hope that the writers take his totality into account. That even though he was quiet the last couple weeks of the regular season being out, they wouldn't have got there without him. So anyway, let's start with the quote of the week. We already gave you one earlier this week, but with everything going on, really quick, take a sidestep from sports. With everything going on in our country, as you guys know, with my flag behind me, where I stand, that I believe in our country, I believe in our leadership, I believe in law and order. So with that being said, let us say that Edgar Allan Poe said, "Believe nothing that you hear, and only half of what you see." And Dale Renton, who is an author of books, said, when what you hear and what you see don't match, trust your eyes. Obviously, Minnesota, where lies are stacked upon lies, and you got guys like Tampon Tim and Jacob Frey who encourage people to attack law enforcement. Then, unfortunately, we never celebrate anybody getting hurt. Again, like somebody on January 6th, like the pretty girl, Ashley Babbitt. But, half of our country celebrated that. But now that this lady, who attacked law enforcement, pour this and pour that and everything, and they tried to come out with a narrative. Well, now we've seen video now of her literally trying to, stir it up, and then rammed an officer standing in the middle of the street, and it was all documented, and there is video for proof. So these guys who try to sell you lies, again, I back in the day believed in Obama because I believed it was good for our country to come together. And you know what, like, oh man, our first black president, I was so happy. I was a police officer at the time and all that. I bought into the whole kit and caboodle of all the lies that they were selling. But when I started to really peel back what's funny is I never actually was political. I never actually paid attention. I just trusted our leaders. I trusted my country. And it was Trump's first term that got me to pay attention because they have such hate for the man and such disdain. And again, I'm not a Trumper. I'm not, all I want is I want somebody who can lead us and keep us safe. And what I bring it up is because of their hate, I think they overplayed their hand and all the lies there. And I thought to myself, wow, then he needs to go to jail if all these things are true. But if they had what they claim and all their lies, dude would be in an orange jumpsuit behind bars already. But he's not. And why? Use your common sense, people, because they love their power. They as we've now find out, they're siphoning all of our tax dollars, and it's you and I that are working to keep them fat and happy in their ivory towers, while we all, never going to get ahead, and our kids struggle and so forth and so on. But we just want honesty and truthfulness. We want transparency. And enough said about politics. I just want us to understand that again, do your homework, do your research, and when all the news is telling you the same talking points almost instantly, something's wrong. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get to this weekend where we can all come together and galvanize with our sports. And so this week we got some interesting. So we had Miami yesterday, guys. Remember we told you guys early that we would tease Miami, and wow, that was so. And again, I want to bring up Miami game just because it's very, very crucial and important that what we've been teaching you guys since week 1 is always buy, the max that you can. And now again, use your brains to a point. So like with Miami, we didn't buy the whole 2 points, but we bought to get it from 4.5 to 3.5 or even 4, whatever, and it landed perfect because we have a lot of parlays right now with one team of, but again, a 5-teamer, man, when it misses, it just misses by one team. One thing I'll tell you is, so like on money line parlays, like using Ole Miss, which we told you guys, we suggested doing the 2 money lines, right, with coffee money parlays with Ole Miss and Oregon tonight, but I am betting Indiana. But I got a $10 money line parlay with Ole Miss and Oregon, and then 4 dogs on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. Here's my point: is okay. So Ole Miss went down. Valiant effort. They lost exactly by 4. It was actually perfect for me and our team because we have a bunch of parlays with Ole Miss plus 4.5, and we have a bunch of parlays with Miami minus 3.5. So we literally nailed the middle, and everything's still alive. Now our money line parlays went down. Of course, only one side can win on a money line. But here's the important part of this is that we have a bunch of 6-teamers where we have Ole Miss. I ran down first thing this morning, and I resubmitted all of my parlays that had money line Ole Miss, because I can show you stacks and stacks from this season where I have 9-teamers, 8-teamers, 7-teamers, and 6-teamers all missing by 1 team. Ugh, it's so freaking annoying. But a lot of them were a middle game, like from Saturday to Sunday to Monday. It was somewhere in the middle where there's nothing I could resub or redo about it. If I'm going to have a parlay go down by 1 team, I prefer it to be on the front the very first game. Because why? I can resub the remaining teams and replay it. Just let 6-teamer goes to 5-teamer now. A 5-teamer now is a 4-teamer. But how many I've missed by 1 team? So I love when it's the first team, because now I have even more faith or more confidence in my remaining teams, but where I've got it, again. And another thing is everybody's wallet is different. If you can afford it, if this is something that you're blessed to be able to do, because again, how many times is when you've got this 5-teamer or 6-teamer, right? And but Ole Miss was one of the 6 teams. Ole Miss went down on money line. Ole Miss goes down. You never resub it. And then you look back on Monday or Tuesday and you go, son of a gun, the damn thing would have hit if it wasn't for the first, Ole Miss. And it's like, oh, and you want to pull your hair out. So again, if you can, if you can afford it, if this is something you do, again, it's coffee money, $5 and $10 type stuff. Resub it, get everything resubbed, refreshed, minus the one team that just went down with the money line. Now, if you're fortunate like we were yesterday, everything else we did with Miami and Ole Miss was right perfect in the middle. Thank you to the football gods that we were so blessed that we hit 4 on the number. That stuff, those numbers kill the house. So just saying that hopefully we get a couple. But of course we will share with you guys everything come Monday or Tuesday that we hit. But I just again, more information for you guys to follow, and more information, more thoughts, more opinion for you guys to put in the back of your Rolodex and digest and think, oh, okay, next year, next week, whatever, when these instances come up, just like football, just like Tom Brady, there's not a defense he looks out over that he hasn't seen once or twice already in his long and illustrious career. Kind of the same thing, that you are the quarterback and you're looking over the house's defense, and if you can pick apart and go, Piff, which is me, told me, about hedging or buying back the 2 points or this or that. Again, and when you got your teasers going and everything, and come Monday and you've got the dog plus an extra 7.5 or whatever points or a teaser, or you bought the 2 more so you can then take the favorite money line and you can try to middle it. Always a good thing. Anyway, okay, so we've got you the weekly quote. We've got caught up there on that. Let's get to the games without further ado. Now, I get it. It's late. Right now, it's Friday. This is going to go up at some point as soon as the editor-in-chief, my son, can get it up. But you guys already knew my position on Indiana. We think Indiana is, that's one of our picks, and we're sticking with it by just reiterating it. But for some of you that may be listening to this, you may go, hey, Piff, this thing went off an hour ago. Again, we apologize for that, but we make no mistake. Go back and watch the earlier video this week. We absolutely told you to absolutely tease Indiana and the Rams. And if you needed a third to get the plus money, we said throw in Miami. But we just loved both the Rams and Indiana because we just figured that those were, especially with the plus 7 or 7.5, that was a lock. So without further ado, we'll get over. I'll say the reason we're doing this too, this second video this week going into the weekend, is overall, I just want, I trust the sharps, and especially when it's the sharps and I'm fading the public. So the wise guys and the sharps are on one side, and the public is literally betting up the other side. That's when we like it the most, because historically you're going to hit it over a 70% clip. So getting into the first game, a couple of these are going to be, there's not much to pick apart. It's going to be short and sweet. But the Rams, we love the Rams, but here's the caveat. The odds makers are not in the business of giving money away. If it was as easy as, okay, 10, just lay the 10, because we'll, bet the Rams, bet the house, we'll cash out the minute the game's over, because that's easy pickings. No, we don't think it's that easy, but we've analyzed this game to death this week, and we cannot come up unless something fluky. Now, again, this is something that all season gamblers know. If Matthew Stafford gets bent in half by a blitzing linebacker or safety, 4 minutes into the first quarter, and he, is doubtful to not returning in the game, that changes the whole landscape. I still wouldn't put it past the Rams to be ready for it and still cover and win this game. But you get my point. I don't think there's a more important quarterback to a team in the playoffs than Stafford is to the Rams and Josh Allen is to the Bills. Those two teams cannot get any further than where they're sitting right now without their play caller and quarterback. I think that you could make an argument like with Houston. that the backup has proven that he might actually be a little bit better in certain circumstances than CJ. He won a lot of games when they needed him to, and that's why they're in the playoffs, because their backup quarterback took care of business. Another one, Brock Purdy versus Mac. It kind of didn't matter, right? They're different in how they play and their abilities and what they do with the team and so forth. And of course, San Fran wants Purdy in there as the starter. But that being said, we think that what if Love and the backup there in Green Bay, they all proved themselves this year in wins, games they needed to win, and the backups came in and did just that. So. But with Stafford, we don't think so. We think if Stafford were to go out early for some odd reason due to an injury or whatever, especially in the first quarter before any scoring commences, we don't think that the Rams overcome that as far as going on into the playoffs beyond that game. So anyway, that being said, any odd weird things happening, Rams, we expect them to be, they're pissed off that Carolina is one of the reasons, and the main reason started their losing or their slide. And we think that they're going to be, psychologically, that's their bulletin board material, and they're going to be pissed off and ready to roll. They get Devontae Adams back. They've got a good, Kyron Williams is running the ball well. You talk about coach, left tackle, and quarterback. We've talked about that's the three things you need to get to the playoffs and build the foundation of a team being the upper tier and upper echelon in the NFL. They've got it all. They've got two wide receiver ones in Puka and Devontae Adams. They've got the tight ends, Higbee, all three of their tight ends. And when they run 13 personnel, forget it. I mean, with 13 personnel, Puka or Devontae's on the sideline, and they're killing people with this. So. And their defense, my God, with their linebacking core, so that if you listen to any experts, any pundits, all the breakdowns and stuff, you'll know as well that we know their back end can be a little leaky. So when Carolina beat them earlier this year, there was a couple of weird fluky turnovers. Stafford that he's not generally going to do that, but one that he threw in the end zone, so that was 7 less than they could have got. A second interception in that game was a pick six, which added to the score, right? And Bryce Young threw 2 fourth, and I know one of them was a 4th and 3. I remember the play in my mind to T-Mac. But twice, 4th down, I mean, just perfect throws against the same corner and burned the same corner twice. And both of those not only converted for a first down, but went for touchdowns. That is not... It's not likely to replicate again. So all that being said, now we know that we factored in, okay, it could be raining. There could be some weather involved. That absolutely will slow it down a bit. But both teams will have to deal with it. I get that that's Carolina's home field. But both teams, both sides of the defense have to deal with that because the offense have a little bit of an edge because, when you're a wide receiver and you're running your route, you know when you're going to cut and where you're going. And if you can keep your footing, the corner or safety or, whatever, they have to react. That's a problem for defenses. So, again, we factored in that there could be wet weather, and the Rams are definitely, an indoor, not indoor, but they have an indoor type stadium, fast track, turf, all that. We just think they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready for it. And the fact that they've already played there once this year, they know what to expect field condition wise, not to mention opponent wise. They know what to expect. So, yes, Carolina's getting back some of their defensive help. One guy was out with a concussion. I remember there was a couple of guys for Carolina's defense that are key that were out that will be back. But all things being equal, the other thing that we looked at long and hard is, look, Carolina played Tampa Bay on Saturday last week, the week 18 last week Saturday. They knew going into Tampa, win and you're in, plain and simple, and they couldn't get it done. They threw a flea flicker on the 20 in the red zone, for God's sakes. Who? What? So that showed us poor coaching and poor decision making. So if they, with a must-win scenario, could not get it done against Tampa, what makes anyone think that they're going to get it done against the Rams, who is tiers above? As a Seahawk fan, I hate saying this, but facts are facts. The Rams might be the best team overall in the playoffs, top to bottom, left to right. They might be, arguably. I don't know if they are. That's more of an opinion than a fact. But if you look at statistics, if you look at a lot of the measurables, they are the top echelon of teams. That you've got the Seahawks, you've got the Rams, you've got Houston with their defense, you've got Denver with the #1 seed. You got the Patriots, who have just run over everybody. But again, one of the knocks, and we'll get to it, in the Patriots is that their schedule. They literally have played the weakest, softest schedule in 26 years in the NFL. So there's something to be said about that, because iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. They, to their credit, they did everything that was asked of them, of what was in front of them. But are they really ready to meet a playoff level team? We'll talk about that in a little bit. So anyway, back to it. The Rams is where we lean the Rams. Our suggestion is that, let me get my pen, by the way. Our suggestion is that you tease the Rams and tease them. Again, we suggested this earlier in the week, that you tease the Rams in Indiana. Now that game is probably gone by the time you're watching this, pick your game. If you want to use one of our picks, fine. But if not, you can use an over and under. Use whatever your best bet is, your best, strongest bet that isn't the Rams. We would tease that. If you like Philly, we would tease the Rams and Philly as a two-team teaser. Now, I get it. You don't get back a whole 100 for 100 on a bet. You're probably going to get back, like if you bet 100, you're probably going to get back about 80. Doesn't matter. You're getting back. You're going to cash out. So we like the Rams as one of our teaser picks. Although we like them enough that minus the it's minus 10. There are some 10.5s, but I still see that. I just went down and came back an hour ago. There are still minus 10s. So at minus 10 with a 7.5 point teaser, you can get it to under 3, so it's minus 2.5. We would take the Rams again with the teaser, but we would also take the Rams buying back the 2 points at minus 8. So minus 8 Rams is one of our picks that we're telling you for this weekend. Now, don't bet the house, because again, this is the NFL. Anything is possible. Let me go preface it by saying this. We are taking the Rams heavily on teasers and parlays and buying back the 2 points. So we have Rams minus 8 on a lot of different stuff. But we still, I had that money line parlay. We still have a money line parlay on Oregon and like a 6-teamer. We have Oregon and Carolina, just in case. But it's for $10. But if that 5 or 6 teamer hits, and part is in one of the 5 or 6 teams is Carolina, even redoing it, taking off Ole Miss, but we've got Oregon, Carolina. We took the Chicago as the dog because now they're plus money. The Pittsburgh plus money. The Chargers plus money, like a 5-teamer. And San Francisco plus money, 6-teamer. $10 gets you back like over 2,000. So that's my point. It's just that that you kind of can play both sides. But when it comes to the serious money, we want you on the Rams minus the 8. Okay, enough said about that one. We think that Rams roll in this game. We think the final score is something in the neighborhood of 35-10. So, but don't take that as for the over/under. I'm just saying that we figured that's what kind of scoring it's going to be. We don't think it's going to be tight where Rams are leading by 17 with a minute to go and Carolina scores a cheap one. Although that is certainly in in the realm of reality or possibilities, and that's why bet what you can afford. Don't go crazy, but we definitely like the Rams at -8. All right, second game, the Packers. We've dissected and looked at this game, and shout out to my girl out there in Florida because she is a Bears fan, and unfortunately, when all is said and done in this game, we are going to be picking the Packers. But I'll preface it with a caveat saying this: the Packers, except Ben Johnson, this is what scares me. That as the OC, offensive coordinator for Detroit, he is like 6-1 against Green Bay, and with him as OC with Detroit, they won like the last 5 that he was there. I think you'd have to go all the way back, or 6 that he was there. I think you have to go all the way back to like his, was it 3 or 4 years ago, where there was a tight one, like it was like a 13-9 or something. I don't remember exactly. It was a tight game, low scoring tight game where Green Bay won, but it was less than a touchdown win, low scoring game. But the last 2 or 3 were interesting because it literally was like, if I remember correctly, it was like the exact same score like the last 3 times they had played, like 31-28 or something along those lines. But my point to all of that is that Ben Johnson knows how to beat Matt LaFleur. But it's Ben Johnson beating Matt LaFleur with the chess pieces in Detroit. We feel that Caleb is still young, still learning. He basically, if you watch the 2 games they played Green Bay this year, the Green Bay won the first one, as we all know. Caleb threw an interception in the end zone. And it wasn't really as close as that. But we watched that game. Green Bay took care of their business in that game. In the second game, Green Bay, it was 16-0. And then a couple of fluky things happened. And next thing you know, it was tied up and going to overtime. And they needed an onside kick to get it to overtime. And then, not to take anything away from Caleb, he nails his wide receiver in the corner on a go and makes an incredible throw to win the game in overtime. But they needed like a comedy of errors to happen to get it to that point. Again, we don't think sustainable. We don't think it happens twice. So in this case, and the sharps are all over Green Bay, the public seems to be all over Chicago. So again, we like that. So in that league now. Oh, by the way, these are not all picks. We're just telling you what we're doing. But you got to make up your mind. Again, with the Rams -8, we're adding that to our Chargers pick from earlier this week. With the Bears, Green Bay, we're just letting you know what we're doing. Green Bay is not our pick per se for the show. We're just letting you know what we're going. We're going to cover every game and kind of give you a little bit of a opinion on everything that's going on with this game. So on this side, we like Green Bay, and they are right now in where I'm at BetMGM. They were -1. It's so close. We just took Green Bay money line, so we don't have to dabble or worry about a 21-20 score, a 14-13 type score. So you just take Green Bay money line because there can be no tie in a playoff game. Somebody needs to come away with the win. So we're taking Green Bay money line. Although it was -1 when we were doing it, so you can know what the plus or minus whatever is. Okay. So again, Green Bay except for Ben Johnson, and that's why we kind of pumping the brakes on that one a little bit. Buffalo has Josh Allen. He's the best in the NFL period right now in the playoffs. But we also know the wide receivers. There's a glaring deficiency on their wide receivers. They really don't have a go-to like a DK Metcalf type or even a Jamar Chase type, a Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and G, but they don't have that guy. The closest guy they have is Khalil Shakir. He's good. He's not that guy. we all know that there's glaring holes on their defense. And I'll touch on something else too. Going back to the receivers, not only do they not have a wide receiver one, they really don't have a wide receiver two. Shakir would probably be a wide receiver three on most of the playoff teams that are in the playoffs right now. No disrespect to him, but compared to Nico Collins at Houston, not even close. Now, there's also glaring holes on their defense. And there is a stat that says their defense is good against the pass. But understand that that's skewed by the way teams have played them. That a lot of teams have run on them so much that they didn't need the pass. And so I think that their defensive pass stats are not as accurate as the numbers are telling you. Jacksonville, they look impressive. They are definitely the hottest team in the NFL. But I've been watching football for 60 years. And in my history, Jacksonville, this is a dangerous spot. If Jacksonville loses, it goes to we overachieved this year, and it's been a blast, and we've built a foundation for the team going in the next year. It would be kind of the narrative, right? And careful, because again, I love Trevor Lawrence, but there is a thing, they early on, before they beat Kansas City this year, everybody used to use the term, they're going for the Trevor Lawrence experience, like a roller coaster ride. Inconsistency. Now, he's gotten much better. We attribute that to Liam Cohen, the head coach. He has absolutely got Lawrence to polish and hone his skills. This is the guy that we thought we were getting when he came out of Clemson and was drafted in the first round years ago. That being said, you got to be careful, because Josh Allen, Buffalo, he wants his shot, and this is it. Whether if the weather, it looks, we went ahead and looked ahead. It looks like it's going to be mild, and I trust that all NFL teams, no matter who it is, know how to best acclimate their players. Now, there's some things that you just can't prepare for, right? Like Chicago type winter weather and whatnot. And so if a Miami team is going to Chicago, Jacksonville going to Denver, later on when it's, 3 below and winds of 30 miles an hour and that kind of stuff, there's not much you can do to acclimate for that. But think about all the New England dynasty years with Tom Brady, when they would have to go and play Miami late in the year, in late November, all the way to early January as regular season, but still, trying to get their 1 seed or trying to lock up their playoff spot, whatever. Even their best years, when Miami was just, a 500 team, they would have a hard time. And a lot of it had to do not just with the familiarity and the nature of being in the same division, is a division rival, but weather always played a part. So we caution you that, again, this is going to be, a lot of it's going to be put on Josh Allen, and it's the Superman cape. In this game, the way we're approaching it, we like both sides. And what I mean by that is, whoever is the dog, we're taking that. If there's a plus money side on the line, the money line, we're taking that as our money line. But we like both sides on a teaser. We like both sides just in the plus. So if we're taking Buffalo on some of our parlays, we're not betting this game straight out. So on any teasers, we're taking both sides depending on what we're mixing and matching. On parlays, we're taking Buffalo, because right now we have Buffalo -1 where we're at. We're taking Buffalo at the money line, but we are taking with New England +1. You can buy 2. Some places we can get 1.5. So we're buying the 2 points and taking New England at home plus the 3.5. So we're playing both sides on just simple, cheap parlays and teasers. With our teasers, they're 25 or $50, but they're 6, 7, or 18 teasers where, for $50 you're getting a $400, $450 return. And so for, kicks and giggles, to enjoy the game, we're betting small on teasers and parlays with the Buffalo -1. So again, playing both sides. On Philly, San Francisco. A couple of stats that blow you guys' mind. San Francisco, if trails by 7 at halftime, is 1 win and 29 losses. In the fourth quarter, 0-38 when trailing by 7 or more, with good QB play by Purdy. That stat is jarring. That one blew my mind. Shanahan is not a flexible coach, and as OC in Atlanta versus the New England Patriots, up 28-3, where the defense was gassed, so you needed the offense to run the ball, run some clock, and just hold possession a little bit. With 18 minutes left in the game, and it doesn't only just fall on him. Quinn, the head coach now in Washington, holds a big part of that responsibility. But that was Shanahan's offense. That's when he left and went to San Francisco. So, these are what that says about Shanahan. He might be one of the smartest play callers in the NFL, but he is definitely not flexible. He is tied to his call sheet, and that scares us. So, Philly, yes, they have been a Jekyll and Hyde this year. But Coach Sirianni is as unpredictable, and the Eagles as a whole they've got some dudes from Hurt, the quarterback, Saquon. You've got Brown and Devontae as wide receivers. Goddard, one of the best experienced tight ends in the game. Their O-line, forget about it. Mailata and Lane Johnson is coming back, by the way. Defensive, San Fran, as you guys already know, I'm not breaking news here. They're being held together. Their defense is being held together by glue and duct tape. Eagles, from the backside, they've got Cooper DeJean, Quinion, Blankenship, Dean and Zach Bond at out linebacker, and their front, Carter, Phillips, Ojomo, and Davis. Are you kidding me? Forget it. Give me Philly minus the 4.5. I actually, it's now at 5.5. So again, buy the 2 points and make it 3.5, or be money line. I think the money line when I left this afternoon was minus 240 though, or 200 to 240, kind of expensive. So I get it. Buy back the 2 points. Any parlays and teasers, definitely buy back the 2 points on parlays. Teasers, it's a different story. You're going to get your 7.5. But straight bet, we like Philly minus 3.5. You got to buy back the 2 points. Minus 5.5 is the official line right now. So it is the one game, I will tell you, that all of our data shows the pros and the Joes, the sharps and the public are all both on Philly. That scares me. But San Fran, after playing Seattle last week, we just don't see that they've got much. I mean, they had to pull a guy off the street, sign him to the practice squad to play linebacker this week. So, I mean, maybe the guy, if the dude was NFL worthy, and I believe that who they signed actually was a Pro Bowler a couple of times in his career. But that being said, if the dude was still a Pro Bowler, he'd still be playing. So again, like Phillip Rivers, impressive for what he did. I'm sure this guy, tip of the cap to him for coming off the couch and getting into the game. But yeah, how much can you actually expect? So we don't expect much. We think Philly minus 3.5 is a good bet. And again, real quick, I just saw a note. I know I touched on this, but it's supposed to be 70 degrees in Jacksonville. So the Buffalo-Jacksonville game, weather should not be a factor, just to let you guys know. Again, just to reiterate that. Now, the LA Chargers. We gave you the Chargers early. We told you guys at the time, earlier in the week, that was our top call or our best bet. We gave you, and you could say, what about what you just said about the Eagles? Wouldn't that argument apply to the New England Patriots, LA Chargers, as far as the Patriots having the home field and having all the dudes, and all that, and the Chargers being, their left tackle's out, Joe Alt, their right tackle's out, Herbert with his hand. Well, that's what Harbaugh manufactured a bye week last week for a lot of the team. Let me tell you, as much dudes as New England has, and they've got some dudes, they haven't played anybody like I've explained to you. They have the weakest schedule that has been played in the last 26 years, according to ESPN and Pro Football Stats. Another thing is LA Chargers. They've got some dudes as well, but we think guys like QJ, their receiver, he's a baller. He's a true wide receiver one and a go guy. They also have Keenan Allen, who is hungry and trying to win that championship in probably what is his last year. And so he is going to leave everything on the field. They've got their rookie running back, and if they don't have their rookie running back, you saw Kamani Vidal get in there as the backup. So they've got a couple of running backs like the Seahawks with Charbonnet and K9. They don't lack at running back. They've got this tight end that is coming on and every week getting better and better. Excuse me, there's something in my eye, dust. So we think that strength of schedule has honed, steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron. We think that the Chargers' schedule has prepared them. Harbaugh and Herbert will be the toughest opponent that the New England Patriots have faced. And we think that Vrabel is that dude. He is that coach. But you've had 18 weeks of running through people, and you haven't faced any, except for the Buffalo Bills, which they got up on 21-0 at home and blew that game. That tells us a lot as well. And so this will be their toughest opponent that the Patriots have played. And the public is locked and loaded on the Patriots. And the wise guys are on the Chargers. The hook is the 3.5 is huge here. And by the way, as we told you earlier in the week, when we gave you this pick, we'll be taking an extra point. We've got the Chargers at 4.5. So LA Chargers plus 4.5. It's kind of the one dog that we've given you so far. And I know wild card weekend, dogs generally reign supreme. Another note is that over and unders are interesting. If you blindly bet dogs and unders on wild card weekend, you're supposed to hit at over a 60% clip according to the last couple of decades and trends. So we know we're kind of bucking trends here, but that's where it is what it is. And this is our analysis. This is what we've come up with. This is the data that's been we've absorbed, and we're just passing on this information to you. We especially like unders or overs and unders when adding any extra 7.5 points in teasers. In Vegas, you can get 10 and 12-point teasers. We don't get those here, although I would love to get those this week with some of the lines the way they are and the overs and unders. So if you can get those, God bless you, and have at it. But one of the things, just another note, this is not a pick, but a little note that will let you guys know is that Buffalo and Jacksonville, probably a good hedge, either way you're leaning in that game, is to bet the over, because Buffalo's defense is horrible and leaky, and Jacksonville will be scoring at home, and Buffalo and Josh Allen will answer. And so over 44, when you got 51.5, and you can get the 7.5 teaser, right? 2-team teaser, 3-team teaser, over 44, very attractive. So again, we would tell you over 44 in that game with the Buffalo over 44 on a teaser. We like that on a lean there. All right, Houston, Pittsburgh. Houston is the best defense and legit, where the Steelers are being held together, again, duct tape and glue everywhere. But their defense is a roller coaster. And what I mean by that is TJ Watt, Highsmith, and Hayward will rise up and make a big play or come up with a big stop here or there in a moment, right? And especially at home. Renegade starts playing, look out. but the back end is leaky, no doubt. Ramsey last week, Jalen Ramsey, number 5, I think he wears. Dude gave up what amounts to 2 huge touchdowns last week in 2 big plays. And so we don't have the biggest, confidence in their defense in the back end. But Steelers are a funky team. That Tomlin voodoo, as they call it, trends are 100% in Pittsburgh and Tomlin's favor. Monday Night Football, of all things, I heard or encountered a stat that if you go back the last whatever that he's been there and beyond, they've never lost a game on a Monday Night Football at home as a dog of 3.5 or more. Holy wow. Houston's a different animal, though. I'll tell you, be careful. I go on by Ramsey again. We were talking about him giving up a couple of big touchdowns against Baltimore, but we think that Pittsburgh is the play here. Aaron Rodgers is by far the most experienced and highest IQ in the playoffs, and he's 41, so his physical attributes are not the greatest. We think that the book is making it that the 3.5 is why Pitt is the play. Houston, their lack of experience, where Tomlin and A-Rod is probably the most, as combined, they're absolutely the most experienced and of all the first rounders overall that are playing this weekend. Now, talent, of course, is the great equalizer, and it trumps all. But in this first round, everyone is going to be tight. And, the teams, they're going to be playing tight. They're going to be nervous. And for those reasons, we think experience matters more in this round than any other round because it's the first game. And so we think that Pittsburgh plus 4.5. Pittsburgh plus the 4.5 is, and here's another one, like we were talking about playing both sides, like Buffalo and Jacksonville. We think that if you teased it with the 7.5, you could be Houston plus 3. Or actually, right now at 7.5, with the line being 3, you could get Houston plus 4.5. Or you can get Pittsburgh with the 3. You could get them plus 10.5. Either way, we think that on a teaser, we like either that going, because do you really see Pittsburgh blowing anybody out or blowing Houston out with that defense? And do you see Houston with their slow offense? They haven't really blown anybody out. Look, they just played Indianapolis and almost lost that game. They had to rally and come from behind on that game last week. And I get it. They weren't focused. They weren't playing all their starters in the fourth quarter. But still. So 2 and 3 team teasers might be where it's at this week. Officially, we'll go on the record with Pittsburgh plus 4.5 on this as a straight bet as well. So we've got 4 picks for you guys overall this week with a couple of leans. We like the Rams minus 8, the Chargers plus 4.5, Philly minus 3.5, and Pittsburgh plus 4.5 with a lean on Green Bay on the money line and the Buffalo over teasing it to 44. That is basically what we're going to give you guys this week. We just figured that we should touch base with you guys. Let me just double check here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, fine. So we got you guys basically touched on all 6 games. Don't go crazy. You don't have to bet all 6 games. We mix and match. Most of the time, what we do, I'll be on right now. Tonight we have 1 game. We're betting on Indiana. Better than the 3 that we bought back an extra point, so we got Indiana, minus the 2.5. On Saturday, we are definitely going to tease, or we already have, where we teased Indiana and the Rams 2-team teaser. If and when those cash, we will then decide on what to bet going forward. Me personally, on my team, I'm rooting or trying to convince them, even though pros and Joes are all over this, Philly is probably the way to go, but I don't like it straight because of the pros and Joes being all over it with the points. So I'm going to look to maybe 2-team parlay or 2-team tease, Philly and maybe like Buffalo's over, or do like Philly and Buffalo's over, and then maybe Pittsburgh plus the 10.5. Where if I can get it that far, the first two legs of that three-legger hits, then on Monday night, because I have time to figure some stuff out. Sorry about that. The alarm went off because it's time to pick up the editor-in-chief from his real job. So, as I was saying though, so a three-leg teaser and parlay where we would have Pittsburgh as that third leg, but on a teaser we'd have Pittsburgh plus 10.5. On the parlays we would have actually what I'm doing on that is we're taking Houston money line, because we then intend to bet Pittsburgh money line or Pittsburgh money line and Pittsburgh plus the 3.5 or 4.5. We think at game time it'll get back up to 3.5 or maybe even 4.5 because the public is going to be on Houston. But you get my point. We're going to hedge it and we'll hope for a middle. Anyway, that's it in a nutshell, guys, for the first weekend of playoffs, wildcard weekend. It couldn't have been better with Thursdays and Fridays CFP kind of tickling you and kind of getting a runway going into the playoffs. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 5 days of awesome, meaningful football, not week 18 shenanigans. And so we hope that this is going to be a cash out. We'll see you guys at the window. Good luck to everyone. Aloha and mahalo for checking in. We can't thank you guys enough for all the aloha and support, or love and support you guys have shown. And hopefully, again, we're going to finish off this year strong, but we're looking for you guys next year, and we'll be all off season. Like and subscribe. We will have a lot of information going in the next year, and we will be giving you guys betting, that small bet that could get you massive returns, like a $10 bet getting you over $10,000 in return in August when we head to Vegas to do our contests and all the early bet exactas and look aheads and futures and whatnot. And the only way that you can get in on that is to like and subscribe and stick with us. We're going to give you guys all of that stuff for free. And next year we are going to be having the direct line to and all of the late minute, because that phone line will be direct and open up until kickoff, where you guys, last minute anything, you guys can call me direct, and we will be able to give you guys information as it happens and late and all that. All right, so again, aloha, mahalo, good luck. We'll see you guys at the window. Be good to yourselves, be kind to each other, and peace out.